project, we're going to use a series of sequential while loops to draw 5 unique cards from a deck of 52. And while we can use this without while loops to draw 5 cards, we need to use the while loops to make sure that they are each unique to one another. Here's our interface. We're simply going to have 5 picture boxes that I've labeled pick card 1, pick card 2, pick card 3, pick card 4, and pick card 5. And they're each going to be sized to 140 by 194 pixels. And the reason for that is I'm going to provide a zip file of images of the different cards, and each card will be 140 by 194 pixels. So we're going to use our picture boxes the same size, and we use an image list to provide the images to those different picture boxes. In the past, we've used image lists with labels, but we can also use an image list with our picture box. And they have 2 buttons, one named BTN Deal 5 and one named Clear, or BTN Clear. The BTN Clear button is going to remove the 5 cards and show the back side of the cards, or in essence, kind of turning the cards over. And the Deal 5 will draw our 5 unique cards. So let's go ahead and create that in Visual Studio. So before we create the project, we need to get the assets of our 52 images of the cards, plus there's an extra image for the back of the deck. So 53 images. And I have those in a zip file located in our Canvas course site. So if you go to the Canvas course site, go to Modules and scroll down to Unit 4, Repetition Structures, and open that up. And at the bottom of that list, you'll see 2 files, cards.zip and cards 140 by 194. The cards 140 by 194 are a bit larger than the cards zip, and we're going to use that one, the 140 by 194. So I'm simply going to click on it, and in Canvas, it's going to give me an option to download it. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click again on download, and then I'm going to save it into a folder. So in my downloads folder, I'm going to create a new folder, simply called cards, and that's where I'm going to save it to. And then it gives me a chance to open that folder. I'm going to open it, and we're going to unzip the file, or extract it. Okay, and there then is my folder, cards, and the subfolder of cards 140 by 194. And you can see all the images here. My first image is the back of the card, and then we have all the spades going from deuce to ace, all the hearts going from deuce to ace, the diamonds from deuce to ace, and the clubs from deuce to ace. 53 images. Those are now going to be available to us. So remember where you saved them. Mine was in my downloads, cards folder, cards 140 by 194. And then I'm going to go into Visual Studio. So here in Visual Studio, I created a new project called Deal 5 Cards. And I took my form, changed the text to say Deal 5 Cards, and put a background color of green. Let's go ahead and bring those images in. So I'm going to scroll down to the components and find image list. I'm just going to drag that over to my screen, and I get this image list at the bottom. Let's rename that image list to IMG Cards. I'm going to set the bit depth to 24-bit. And I'm going to change the image size to the size of the cards, which is 140 by 194. Now, if you didn't know what that size was, we could look at it in our Windows File Explorer. And I could right-click on a card and choose Properties and see information about that file. If I go to Details, I can see that it's 140 by 194, and all 53 of those images are the same size. And that's important when using an image list, that all your files be the same size. So I want 140, not 140x, comma 194, I want 140, comma 194. And then I can bring in my image list in the collection. So I'm going to click on Images, go to the collection, and I'm going to say Add. And I'm going to go find those 5 cards that we brought in. They were in my Downloads folder, Cards folder, Cards 140 by 194. And I'm going to select the first one and scroll down to the last one and do a shift click that gets all 53 of those and say Open. And they come in the same order that they were there. So I have my back of the card is index 0, the deuce of spades is 1, the 3 of spades is 2, the ace of spades is 13. So remember, there are 13 cards in each suit, so 13 times 4 is 52 cards. And at the very bottom is my ace of clubs. So we're going from spades to all the hearts, to all the diamonds, to all the clubs. And I'm going to say OK. Now I want to take a picture box and put that on my screen. I'm going to change the size of that picture box to match my images. So it's going to be 140 pixels wide by 194 pixels high. So there's going to be my first card. I'm going to go ahead and set the back color. And we can do either white or black. I'm going to go ahead and do white. And if you want, you can add a border style. I'm just going to do a fixed single. And there's my first card. Let's name that card, or that picture box, Pick Card 1. I'm going to take that picture box, I'm going to copy and paste it and get my second one. Put a little space between these, and I can see I'm going to need to stretch out my form a little bit here. Let's paste our third one. The fourth one. And the fifth one. And once again, I'm going to stretch out my form a little bit. And I'm going to take those five, select them, and I'm going to make sure these are center, or these are aligned at the top, and that the spacing is even between these. Okay, so there's my 5 cards. Let's name these other cards that we added to be Pick Card 2, Pick Card 3, Pick Card 4, and Pick Card 5. And I always like to kind of choose my drop-down list from the properties, make sure that I've got all 5 of those named correctly. And I do. Pick card 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now let's add some buttons. I'm going to stretch out my form just a little bit here at the bottom. I'm going to add a button. And that button is going to be named BTN Deal 5. And for the text, it'll be Deal 5 cards. Now I'm going to change my font just a little bit on that, make it a little bit larger. Maybe 11 point, maybe I'll make it bold. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to copy and paste. This will be our Clear Cards button. So BTN Clear, and my text is going to be Clear Cards. Now I'm going to set the image of each of my cards to the back of the cards to start with. And I'm going to do that in a form load. So I'm going to double click on my form, and I'm simply going to say Pick Card 1 dot image equals img cards, that was our image list, dot images, and then in square brackets I'm going to put a 0. That's that index 1 of our images. I need to make sure I spell images correctly. And then I'm going to copy that line, and I'm going to do that for the other 5. So I'll change my 1s to 2, 3, and 4. And 5. Okay, at this point I'm going to save my project. And let's just run it and see what we get. So there then are my 5 cards, and I'm seeing the 5 backs that says South Mountain Community College. There are buttons at this point to do anything, so when I click this button, I want to have it display 5 unique cards, and the clear button should go back to these 5 backs. So I can easily code my clear button by just copying and pasting my form load. So I'm going to copy those lines of code. Let's come in here to our interface and double click on clear cards. We get a stub for btn clear _ click, and I'm just going to paste those 5 lines of code that will set the images to 0. Then I'm going to code my deal 5 cards. And we're going to use the random number generator to generate a number between 1 and 52. So I'm going to create some integers. We're just going to do C1, C2, C3, C4, C5. And that's going to stand for card 1, card 2, card 3, card 4, card 5. And then I'm going to create a random number object. I'll just call mine R&D. It's going to equal a new random. And then C1 is going to equal R&D dot next. And I put in parentheses 52. And that's going to give me a value between 0 and 51. But I really want 1 to 52, so I'll just add 1 to it. Now, I'm going to do the same thing for the other 4. Copying and pasting. And we're going to see the problem when we run this here in a minute. And then I want to display the cards. So, pick card 1 dot image equals my image list, which was image cards dot images, and in the square brackets I'm going to put C1. It's going to be the index number of my first card. And then once again I'm going to copy and paste. And we'll change this to C2, C3, C4, C5, and let's change our pick cards to 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, let me run this and show you what we get. So I'm going to deal the 5 cards. And I get 5 cards randomly generated. Hey, that works. Let me run it several more times. We happen to get 2 cards that are exactly the same. So we shouldn't have 2 8 of hearts. How can we fix that? Well, we can use while loops to our advantage to generate a new index number randomly while that index number is equal to one of the previous cards. I'm going to close my program and let's do that. So I generate the first card, I generate the second card. Now that second card could be the same as the first. So what I'm going to do is after I deal the first card, and I know the first card is going to be unique because it's the first of 52. What I'm going to do is a while loop. So I'm going to say do. And what I want to do in that loop is generate card 2, the index for card 2 randomly. And then we're going to repeat that while C2 is equal to C1. If I happen to draw the same card, then I'm going to regenerate it. And then I want to do the same thing for my third card. Except here, we're going to generate C3. And we're going to do this while C3 is equal to C1, or C3 is equal to C2. My double equals there. We want to do the same thing for C4. So again, I'm going to copy, paste. This one we're generating C4, and we're going to do it while C4 is equal to C1, or C4 is equal to C2, or C4 is equal to C3. And then do the same thing one more time to generate the fifth card. So here we're generating C5, and we're going to do that while C5 is equal to C1, or it's equal to C2, or it's equal to C3, or C5 is equal to C4. Make sure we have no errors. Everything looks good. So all we're doing here is we're processing those 5 cards. So they're all unique and displaying the cards as items from our image list into the image of each card. Let's test this one more time. So here's our project. I'm going to deal 5 cards. By the way, let's check our clear cards button. So it goes back to those blank cards. So I can deal 5 cards here all day long and never get the same 2 cards. Now at the end of the semester, I'm going to have you creating a video poker project, and we'll use this technique to generate our initial 5 cards. And we'll use the same technique when we draw individual cards to replace any of those 5 cards. But I can keep clicking, and I'm always going to get 5 unique cards.